Hi guys, welcome to again to another video, and this time we are recapping the finale week of low fuel motorsports at the Red Bull Ring and diving deep into the action. Now that we had a small moment between the BMW and Sakara and the Aston Martin as we pass him going into turn number 2. So going into turn number 2, we had a wide line and Sakara spooked me a little bit there, so I went a little bit off track, and now we are going side by side with the Ferrari of Mr. Stevens, trying to hug the right hand side as much as possible. Looking at another view, try to go around the outside, made him a little bit of space there against Stevens. Now the inside line is mine now, going to this left-hander, and he was forced to go around the outside, and this time he had to give up and slot back behind. And with that being said, he is now being pressured by Mr. Sakara in the Aston Martin. So far a good start for me in the lap number 1. So moving forward, Caligaris passes me. So looking at Caligaris' POV, so Hindom did compromise my exit, and with that being said, Caligaris just did me around the outside of turn number 2, and I cannot do anything about it. And I lost one position, and then move a little further in front. An incident did happen. So that's Maldini in the Ferrari, Pachon in the Porsche, and Dale Rodman Jr. who went on to the gravel trap on the right hand side. And here's Pachon going also on the gravel and rejoins in a sharp manner, and that rendered Maldini's race over here. So he's doing due diligence here, not trying to accelerate. Unfortunately, Kratos is not minding the yellow flags. And moving forward now, Hindom had a moment, and again, more positions coming my way because of that. And the final spectacle of this race is Caligaris pit maneuvering Jesse Stevens, who is in front of me. And that being said, I finished 13th place in this race, so not much happened in this race. This was the first race of my week. And that being said, that was Caligaris' fault, no doubt. You try to rejoin, you make sure you don't hit maneuver another guy coming out of the grass. Anyways, moving forward into the second race, we have qualified in the middle pack. So we're the sandwich here, and this time we are racing with terrorists, and the terrorist I'm referring to is Encina. And later on you will find out. And the other guy, Ferrari, Mr. Eric Garcia, he's not a terrorist, he's a nice guy. Going into turn number 2, Eric Garcia have to give space Mr. Encina going to turn number 2. The Porsche spooked me a little bit there, so I gave him a tad bit more space just so I don't get killed. Going into turn 3 hairpin. Again, giving a wide berth against Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald will play a pivotal role later, as we see these two guys fighting in front of us, as McDonald did manage to pass us around the outside. And moving forward to lap number 2, McDonald is still in front of us, but let's pay attention to the people in front, and that's Encina and Eric Garcia. So both of them almost killing each other, and with that being said, McDonald is now in the picture as we are now getting harassed by Mello in the AMG. So going into turn number 3 now, let's see what McDonald's going to do. Basically sending it 3 wide, knocking the 2 other competitors into the gravel trap, into the sand. And here's the replay of that. Oh my goodness. I mean, you can send it 3 wide. The problem is there's lack of talent, as he also destroyed another guy's race, and that's another view of it. Eric Garcia just going onto the grass there, and That being said, I had positions momentarily, however, and Cena just diving into turn number 2. I had to go off the track in order not to hit him. Going into turn number 3, hairpin again. I tried to go side by side. He has the inside line though, going into the hairpin. I just couldn't turn in and I ran out of road and I had to give up the position. However, moving forward a little bit here, going into the last few sequences of the lap, he did had a moment here. Going into the last turn, just had to overcorrect it, and that relinquishes me back to my original position. And with that being said, Jesse Stevens going alongside him, and Jesse Stevens had 2 positions in under 2 corners, and just 2 corners he made 2 positions, courtesy of me being mauled again into turn number 2. I had to go off the track again, and that relinquished Encina to fight against Stevens. However, Stevens did give me the favor here. Going into turn number 3, hairpin, he nudges Mr. Encina off the racetrack onto the grass, and that gave me the position back against Jesse Stevens. And here we go now with the fight between Eric Garcia and Cristobal Encina that I was talking about earlier. So these guys have been scrapping at the beginning. They have been scrapping in the latter stages also. So Eric Garcia forces Encina wide, the defending. So moving back into Encina's POV here, Eric Garcia already knows the behavior of Mr. Encina, so he tries to defend here. Turn number 3, Encina runs out of road. He couldn't make it around the outside, so he needs to fight and live another day here, as Mr. Eric Garcia is proving to be tough to pass in this racetrack, as he almost clouted the back of Eric Garcia. As we move forward into the next lap here, Eric Garcia is being pressurized right now again into turn number 3. Eric Garcia knows what to do. He needs to defend going into turn number 3, and basically he's just running out of road every time, and Cena is being frustrated by Mr. Eric Garcia. However, in this moment here, Eric Garcia committing mistakes left, right, and center, and that gave the opportunity for Encina to shoot it down the inside of turn number 1. So Eric Garcia is still, even though he was forced to go around the outside, he still had a better drive here, and Encina will veer to the right to defend, as Encina did send it full commitment, maximum commitment. However, there's too much speed going into it, and he missed the apex entirely, as we see. However, Eric Garcia did made a mistake also, and that gave the opportunity for Cena to pass Mr. Garcia. However, that's, in my opinion, that's not a fair pass, because he made it off the racetrack. So going into this few sequences here, Eric Garcia is now the one pressurizing Mr. Encina here, as Mr. Encina misses whatever apex is present on the turn. And in this next turn now, Mr. Eric Garcia had a better drive again. However, he is smart not to send it. He is smart not to send it, and as Mr. Encina misses the apex entirely, he again made a mistake and just got yeeted off the racetrack. So looking at another view here, my suspicion is when he braked into the last corner, while he was on the elevated curbs, I think he bottomed out into the last corner. So he went on to the elevated curbs, he braked, that unsettled the car, and that heated him off the racetrack. However, moving forward to the third and final race that we're going to feature in this recap, we are now again starting, I think, in 7th. Anyways, I got forced off the racetrack again, as per usual. So this last race has been enjoyable, at least for me. as we were dicing with the Aston at the back and the Lambo in front. Had to make space for the Aston, and as I go up the racetrack again, I'm just trying to be careful not to end my race by way of not giving enough space to the guy trying to dive inside. Anyways, a good start. Nothing crazy happened, and I didn't lost position this time. Anyways, we're trying to pressurize Mr. Listen in the Lambo here. Trying to show myself on the left hand side just to show my presence. However, I'm not sending it. Not risking it too much in the very start of the race. I just wanted to be safe coming out of lap number 1. And as we move to lap number 2, Listen got compromised by the slow exit of Dabrick of the McLaren in front, and that gave me the opportunity to go side by side, and not just side by side, go ahead of him going into turn number 2 now, as we're also being pressurized by Mr. Cornejo going turn number 2. I made a mistake here going extremely slow in the entry, and that again gave the opportunity for Listen to retake the position, and now I'm under pressure against Mr. Cornejo going to turn number 2. Had to make a defensive effort, hugging the right hand side as there's commotion happening in the background. That's Fogliana, and here is Fogliana's moment. Seems like nobody, he just crashed, or rather he just went up on his own, and Dabrick gave him a little tap as he tries to rejoin on the racetrack. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars, or no, just 4 cars passing him as he managed to resist the green Porsche coming out of the corner. Again, turn number 1. Let's see Fogliana's escapades around the racetrack. That's Andro Cioli, I hope I didn't butcher that name, in the Aston Martin, and Cornejo in the Porsche, the one that we introduced early on in the race. So he forces Cornejo out the racetrack. Cornejo has to fight his way in. A little lap tap coming from Cornejo, and here's Cortez also trying to challenge for the position going into turn number 3 almost, or rather, yeah, they did make contact here. And that gave the opportunity for Cortez to send it in the middle and managed to take the position out of Cortez's hands. And here's Fogliana going around the outside. Another collision there. Argy-bargy left, right, and center between these two drivers here. And Cortez just took advantage of it, needless to say. However, going into this last few corners, Fogliana tries to show himself, and Cornejo almost clouted the back of Cortez's car, as Cortez might be under pressure now from Cornejo going into turn number 1 as we proceed to the next lap. Going to the next lap, Fogliana brakes on the 100. Cornejo was just way too slow because he got compromised by Cortez, and that unraveled rather quickly, and both of their races are now ruined. And as we move forward now back to our POB, we are now pressurizing Listen going into turn number 2. Dabrick is running into the sunset, and my thinking is I need to pass Listen as quickly and as reasonably fast as possible, otherwise Dabrick would be out of touch against me in the latter stages of the race. As I had a moment there, I had to veer to the left, otherwise I will clout Listen going into turn number 3, and that invited Andro Cioli in the Aston Martin to also pressurize me behind, so I had to be careful here not to make any mistakes. While pressuring Listen, I also had to mind the pressure coming from the Aston Martin behind. However, a ray of hope, or rather an answered prayer, came into these last few sequences as Listen did make a mistake going off track, and just tickling the throttle ever so slightly made him go and veer to the right hand side, and that gave me 5th position for the remainder of the race because I just couldn't pass that break into this last few sequences here. And that's the end of our recap for the finale round of LFM, guys. See you guys again on the next video.